Hi, welcome to Art with Anorak. I'm Daisy Rogers and I'm from the West Hampshire School of Art, and over the next few sessions I'm going to take you through how to draw in very simple form the wonderful animals of the Anorak world, such as this beautiful badger that you can see on the tablecloth here. So this week we're going to start with the hedgehog. All you're going to need is some paper and a pencil, and I'll let you have a rubber. And later on you might want to get out your colouring pencils or your pastels or even your paints. But let's start off with a very simple breaking down of the hedgehog's body and head into really simple shapes. So it just becomes that little bit more, a little bit less confusing and less overwhelming, maybe less daunting to try and draw a hedgehog, because it really isn't daunting at all, and I know you can do it. Right, so I'm going to start off with, I've got myself here a pastel pencil in a sort of light brown. And the first thing I'm going to do is think about the shape of my hedgehog's body and his head. And I'm going to break it down into simple circles and a funny little squiggly triangle, but we'll get onto that. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put our hedgehog's body onto our paper. And that's going to be quite a nice big oval shape, like that. Almost looks like an egg lying down, doesn't it really? Or a massive dinosaur egg or something like that. Don't worry if it's a bit squiggly, if it's not perfect. We're not looking for perfection. We're just having fun. And don't worry, because you're going to be doing this in pencil to start with anyway, so you can rub out things as you go along if you need to. But also we're going to be adding colour and detail to the picture later on. So now I've got my hedgehog's body, I want to start thinking about his face. First thing I'm going to do is draw an oval, a smaller oval, standing up like that. And then I'm going to go on to that sweeping nose that the hedgehog has. So I'm going to come down off the face, like a little sweeping, almost looks like an elephant's trunk there. Sweeping little snuffly nose that he has. And then it's going to join down onto the body. So in three shapes there, one big oval, a smaller upright oval, and a little ski jump of a nose triangle, we've created our hedgehog. So now we're going to think about what else do we need? What else do hedgehogs have? Well, they're most famous, aren't they, for their prickles? So let's get going with prickles first. I've got a brown pencil here I'm going to use. I'm going to start at the bottom here, and I'm just going to use sort of zigzaggy, prickly lines, following around the outside of that body of the hedgehog circle that we drew. And it's going to come back down towards the head. And then they have this funny sort of, almost like a little spiky mohawk at the front. And then it's going to sweep down and round to the bottom to join up where we started our prickles there. So there, very, very simply, we can start to see that prickly body of the hedgehog that it's so recognisable for. What else do hedgehogs have? I think let's add some feet in. How many feet have they got? 4 feet, exactly. So 2 at the front, 2 at the back. So they're going to be quite little feet for a little hedgehog. Now you're probably much better at drawing hedgehog's feet than I am. I'm going to do another one there, like that. And then let's do the 2 at the back. So I'm going to do one sticking out at the front, and then another one just tucked away at the back there. Something like that. Okay, what else do we need for our hedgehog? I think it needs its snuffly nose, properly clear, doesn't it? A nice clear nose. And that is as simple as that, really. Let's give it an eye. Now the eye is going to be higher than the nose, but not too high. It's not going to be all the way up there. So we'll just give it a nice little eye there. Now I think it's a very happy hedgehog. So I'm going to give my hedgehog a little smile. There. So he's got his little smile, which joins down to his feet, comes along his little tummy, over to his prickles, and all the way around again. Now he's also got a little ear. So now we're going to put his ear just tucked up here somewhere, like that. Just a little ear, just before the prickles. Okay, so now what we can do, and this will be easy for you with your pencil, it'll be slightly harder for me with my pastel pencil, but your simple normal graphite pencil will rub out really easily. I'm taking my rubber and I'm going to rub out some of the inside lines that I used with my light brown pastel pencil before, what are called the guidelines. So those are the lines that we use to help us at the beginning with drawing the shape of the hedgehog. But now, because we've got this lovely outline of our hedgehog, we don't need some of these lines in between. So let's get our rubber and just clear some of those out the way, just to help our hedgehog feel more realistic. You can really start to feel like, oh, I've smudged it there, but that's okay. Really start to feel like it's coming together now. Okay, how did you get on with that? Does that look more like a hedgehog to you? I think that does. Great. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to think about the prickles of the hedgehog's body again. And I'm going to start giving it a little bit more definition. So I'm going to use, I think I'm going to give my hedgehog 2 tones. So I've got 2 brown pastels here. Now you can use oil pastels, soft pastels, colouring pencils, felt tips, paint, whatever you like. You could even, if you wanted to, and you were really, you're okay with scissors and your parents have told you it's okay to do that. If you've got lots of different coloured tissue paper, you could even cut out lots of tissue paper for all the different spikes. So this is where you can really use your imagination. I'm going to use more a sort of natural hedgehog colours, but you could do a rainbow hedgehog like the NHS rainbows where people are making them to say thank you to the NHS. You could do an NHS rainbow hedgehog, or you could do a space hedgehog, or you could make it a glittery fairy hedgehog. You can do whatever you like. And so let's start by thinking, in fact, there's another pastel I want to get out first. Okay, so what I'm going to do first of all is I've got this brown pastel here, and I'm not going to use the tip of it. I'm actually going to use it on its flat on its side like that. And the reason I'm going to do that is because it's going to give me some really nice pointy prickly lines that almost feel sharp. You can almost feel the sort of tingly prickles of the hedgehog. Okay, so I'm just going to use my initial guidelines to help me, and I'm going to make that nice semicircular shape. Oh, run out of paper there. Going round the hedgehog's body. And the brilliant thing is, once you've got the hang of this, you can draw as many hedgehogs as you like. You can do a whole little family of hedgehogs. You can cut them all out and stick them onto a really nice big piece of card and create a woodland for them to live in. And maybe you could think about building them a house. You could even build a real life hedgehog house in your garden, or if you've got a little wood outside your house or anything like that, you could have a look online with your parents and see how to build one, and then go and create one outside to give real hedgehogs out there their own little safe home. So I've started to create my little hedgehog body of prickles. Now there are going to be prickles everywhere, aren't there? Super prickly. So you can really just go to town, and you can see how by using different, either the end or the side, I can create different type of lines with my pastel. Now I'm going to get a slightly lighter one, and just to make it slightly more interesting, I'm just going to go in again with some thinner lines of prickles. And I might just go over some of the lines I've created to give them a little bit more definition around the body of my hedgehog. So it just starts giving it a bit of dark and light a little bit of tone, and making our hedgehog feel three-dimensional, feeling quite realistic. Great. Now I'm going to work on the hedgehog's face now and his body. Now hedgehogs have much lighter face and underneath their prickles to the body of the prickles. So you can use whatever colour you like. I'm going to use this sort of, it's almost a skin colour really. It's a kind of pale peach. And you can see, now I'm using the flat tip of it now to give myself a little bit more coverage to colour it in a bit quicker. I'm going to make sure I've got that sweeping nose that hedgehogs have. Going around his little eye, his little ear. Oh, he looks so sweet. There we go. There we are. So we start to see our little hedgehog emerging there. Now what I want to do is just I've got a nice green soft pastel here, and it's got a very sharp edges, well not very sharp, but they're nice and clean edges because it's a sort of squared shape, soft pastel, rectangular shape. So what I'm going to start thinking about is where my hedgehog lives. Now hedgehogs, they love to live in undergrowth or in the woodlands. They like rustling around in leaves, and so let's create some leaves for our hedgehog to snuffle around in with his little snuffly nose. So using the edge of my pastel, I'm just going to create now we're just giving the feel of the environment, the context in which our hedgehog is pottering around. So don't worry, it doesn't matter if it's not obviously loads of leaves. You can just do little shapes like that. And if you wanted, you could get some other oranges and reds, and you could do kind of autumnal colours. So you could have your hedgehog crunching through the nice autumnal leaves, looking for nice insects to eat. Brilliant. Now what else could you do with your picture? Well, you could think about the background, couldn't you? Now I've used quite a lot of my paper here, so I haven't got much background left. But what I might think about doing is creating maybe the trunk of a tree in the background there. Now remember, hedgehogs are very small and a tree trunk is really big. So don't draw your hedgehog, don't draw like a whole tree just tucked behind your hedgehog, because otherwise that would be like a giant hedgehog. So I want you to think about what's called proportion, how big something is compared to something else near it. Okay, so I'm going to get myself I think I'm going to use so many browns to choose from. I'm going to use this one again. Actually, no, I'm not. I am going to use this one. This is a kind of pale grey green, because what I'm going to do is I want my tree trunk to be there, but I want my hedgehog to stand out the most. So I'm actually going to use a lighter colour for my tree so that my hedgehog really stands out in the foreground. And I'm going to think about the shape of the bark. Have a look, again, with your parents. Maybe go online and have a look at trees and look at the shape of all the different pieces of bark on there. They create some really beautiful shapes, and you can recreate those for our hedgehog. And maybe there are some lovely roots to this tree. And go over our leaves there. Maybe he's snuffling around in those roots. Could be looking for a new home, or perhaps he's trying to find his lunch. So we can start giving a real story to our hedgehog. And then we can do a bit more colouring in. Now, because they're pastels, these blend really nicely, so I can actually just use my fingers to just smudge them a little bit and create a bit more texture to my background. But as I said, I don't want too much going on in the background because I want my hedgehog to be the star of this little drawing. Okay. Now, you might want to use some much brighter colours. That would be lovely. I'd love to see how you interpret, how you see this little hedgehog or his family or whatever you want to create with your hedgehog. I want to really feel like you've given it a story. So you could think about the background a bit more. We could have, what kind of weather is it? Is the sky blue? Is it raining? Is it snowy? Is it a hedgehog scurrying around ready to hibernate in winter? Or is it a really happy springtime hedgehog leaping through the, I don't know, they could be forget-me-nots, they could be daisies, whatever you like. So really let that imagination run wild. Okay, so we've got our lovely little hedgehog. I think he looks really sweet. And next week, we're going to start thinking about this lovely badger. And we are going to approach our badger in the same way. We're going to really break it down into simple shapes that I know you can do. And please do send me through the work that you've done on your hedgehogs. Send me through, get your parents to take some photos and email us over on the website, the email address on the website. Email us over your finished work so we can put it up online and really showcase all these wonderful creations of yours. Now have a lovely week. Make sure you listen to your parents, and I will see you next week for drawing badgers. Stay safe. Bye.